Bob? Hello? Segment. Charlotte, I really need you.
No, don't wake her. I love that. That's a great sound. I love when dogs sleep.
Yeah, when you don't have to hear it.
The advice provided on this podcast is general advice only. All statements made are considered by the participants to be accurate, but accuracy cannot be guaranteed. It has been prepared without taking into account your objectives, financial situations, or needs. All participants in this podcast, including guests, may have a financial interest in any or all of the products or services mentioned. Before acting on this advice, you should consider the appropriateness of the advice, having regard to your own objectives, financial situations, and needs. If any private products are detailed on this podcast, you should obtain a product disclosure statement relating to the products and consider its contents before making any decisions. Where quoted, past performance is not indicative of future results.
Recorded May 19th, 2017. It's the Money Path Podcast. Episode 72 with Bob Iagino and Michael Arnold, founders of Path Trading Partners. Today's What in the Why segment is sponsored by Motive Wave. Go to pathtradingpartners.com and download your 14-day free trial. So with the summer in the air, let's have a conversation with news in the markets.
16. We don't have 16 pages.
I'll let you guys argue.
About what? We're not arguing.
16 pages. We don't have 16 pages. Sounds like an argument to me.
How many pages do we have? I don't even see where the page count is.
I don't know.
I just do how many finger scrolls I have to do. That's,
We now join the conversation already in progress.
Take your cursor and put your cursor, sir, next to your scroll bar there, sir. Can you see that issue, sir?
Yeah, it says 1 of 15.
It says 1 of 16 on mine.
It says 1 of 22 on mine. Let's see.
What the hell are these jeans?
Don't jump ahead to the fashion and food and fashion nook.
I jump ahead. It's the first thing on the notes. I ain't jumping ahead.
Just go for it.
Well, you don't like those? The new opening ceremony clothing line is trying to make detachable cutout front jeans happen. The 2-in-1 Y Project trousers come in straight line silhouette with slim fitting, detachable shorts that feature high-rise cutouts along the front. And they only cost $425.
What does this have to do with a money path, a path toward money?
Well, it costs a lot of money to buy these, and I thought you'd get a kick out.
I think we should help people earn the money to buy these rather than talk about these. Jesus. Look at this. We've got PopTarts. We've got GoCarts. We've got pull-away jeans.
Yeah.
Those are not pull.
How about an earnings scorecard? Do we have an earnings scorecard?
We'll get to
No wonder you didn't think an hour and 15 minutes was enough for a show. We have to cover fashion. We have to cover go-karts.
Well, the go-karts are a good tie-in.
Two?
Rapid acceleration and Tesla.
Yeah, it's a great tie-in.
Bob, we have to be kind right now because I admitted to Mike earlier that I think that his editorial of the show notes is therapy.
Okay, good.
Because I see a pattern. I see a pattern. Don't you see a pattern in the topics he picks?
I guess I do.
Fashion and food and.
I pick food for Bob and fashion for Bob because I could see him sporting a nice pair of these jeans. You could sport a nice pair. I don't know what you wear when you're on TV below your waist, because we only see you from the waist up.
Usually a kilt. That's not the important.
Even the A-team had the face man. So
I usually wear a kilt, but
see, so I'm trying to make an improvement from your kilt,
like Roddy Piper in the day.
Yes.
Can we do market stuff?
No. Well, I was going to, but you skipped straight to the jeans.
The jeans were first in the notes.
No, it says Bob, quiet market, VIX at the floor, small, and then we got a nice bump this week. And then we had to talk about silver. What is silver and the VIX? Those are market related.
We got more than a nice bump in the VIX.
Well, now it's back.
30% in one day.
Yeah. I hope you took off your calls.
I did.
We're back to 1234 now. The fear's gone again.
Still 20% if you held them till now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, from where you and I were talking about buying them and where I was saying on TV to buy them. I mean, Mike and I have been talking about it for 3-4 podcasts, maybe.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been right for 3 of them. How about that?
We got our nice bump.
Yeah.
And now the fear's off again. Risk off.
I get so exhausted by when I hear those guys say that. We're back into a sort of risk off environment.
Oh, bully.
And then
Reginald, is that how you
why
feel?
do they do that? Risk off means the market is down and risk on means the market is up. But they just love using that phrase.
risk off means the market's up, and risk on.
Risk off means that like they're getting out of stocks.
But we're not at all new time highs yet.
I'm so glad you haven't given up on that. So much.
But we had the move in silver that went up nicely.
Yeah, what happened in silver?
It went up nicely.
Keep going.
I was watching for it to get above 1650 in the daily. That was above our nice little declining trend line. And then for it to return to the breakdown zone in significant levels right around 1685, and it did that. It actually got to 17 this week. Fell back yesterday, but now it's rallying back. It's at 1682. Silver. So we could have another interesting setup, too. If silver gets another close above 1703, then we have another big, nice trendline trade.
Yeah. Did you see that head and shoulders top I forwarded you from Marco this week?
Yep.
All right. So
I was going to look at it this weekend in depth. Mm-hmm. After I finish eating my new watermelon-flavored Pop-Tarts.
Watermelon flavored?
Well, they're coming out with the Jolly Rancher-flavored Pop-Tarts. Green apple, cherry, and watermelon.
Ugh.
God, that sounds appetizing for breakfast.
Terrible.
Who thought that would be a good idea? See, the first two things were who thought those would be good ideas. First of all, the pants. I hate to even call them that. And then watermelon flavored Pop-Tarts.
Well, the answer to the pants is it's secular, right? And the pants go back to when we had parachute pants of the MC Hammer early 1990s days or whatever. That's
Do you mean what word did you use?
Secular, right?
Secular?
So
do you mean cyclical or secular?
I'll take secular for 10.
Secular. Is it cyclical or secular?
I don't know. If I had some incontinence, those pants would definitely make me secular.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, guys, hold on a second. I'm sorry, the doorbell's ringing. Hold on. I'll explain why I have to answer in a second. Come on.
When was the last time you had a Pop-Tart, Mike?
Oh, it's been years.
Last time I had one, it has to be 2 digits in that number in years. And,
I think the last one I had was a chocolate Pop-Tart with vanilla frosting.
And it was tough to eat, wasn't it?
Yes, I do not recall enjoying it.
Right. It's like a roofing shingle and not a dessert. A pastry. It's not a pastry. It doesn't feel like a pastry.
I don't know what it is, but it's not edible. And then to have watermelon ones that just would make it. I would have to be like with a beach ball on a desert island before I'd, or a volleyball on a desert island before I'd consider eating a watermelon flavored Pop-Tart.
Yeah, that's not food. The first thing I thought when I looked at those pants is I went to the internet and I looked up the film The Fifth Element. And believe it or not, those pants would fit right in with the outfits designed for that film set in the future. Like the spacecraft stewardesses
have similar cuts in their shirt that underline shapely areas. You know, so I could see those being something. I mean, it's, you know, that's red carpet stuff. You know, those pants are red carpet, not mucking around in the garden, cleaning the filters in the koi pond.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Oh, boy.
So here's the thing.
What?
So remember that storm we had a couple nights ago?
Yeah.
Well, the power pole, the electrical pole, telephone pole, whatever we call them now, that's right at the corner of the driveway to this house, got struck by lightning at the base. So it's been hanging at about a 20 or 30 degree angle in toward the street. So they're replacing it, and they asked me if I needed to get the car out of the garage because they're on a blocked driveway, which I just did, and then they just informed me power's going to be out in 15 minutes.
Ah, so that was a team that told you the power was out. That was a team.
Yes, 18.
So,
Right,
when's the
man.
power going out?
15 minutes. What do we got today?
Pants.
we got pants and go-karts.
I didn't even get to the go-karts yet.
What'd you get to? You guys been working while I've been away? Can we do an earnings scorecard?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, go.
See, now he's angry.
No, that's good.
See how he gets?
I'm going to have to do the show later.
As of this past Friday, this is from Earnings Insight. There'll be a new one later today. But as of a week ago Friday, with 91% of the companies in the S&P 500 reporting actual Q1 results for 2017, 75% of S&P 500 companies have beat the mean EPS, and 64% have beat the mean sales estimate. For 2017, the blended earnings growth for the S&P 500 is 13.6. If 13.6 is the actual growth rate for the fourth quarter, it will mark the highest year-over-year earnings growth rate for the index since the third quarter of 2011. That was somewhere around 16%, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, 16.7%. On March 31st, the estimated earnings growth rate for Q1 of 2017 was 9%, and 9 sectors have higher growth rates today compared to March 31st a year ago. Let's see. EPS guidance. 61 of the S&P 500 companies have issued negative guidance, and 29 have issued positive EPS guidance, which kind of goes against the Fed saying that the weakness was transitory. Maybe that's what they're talking about, is the transitory weakness of the first quarter is going to affect earnings for Q2. Valuation, the forward 12-month PE for the S&P 500 is now 17.5. This is above the 5-year average of 15.25 and the 10-year average of 14. Another interesting part of it was the blended earnings growth rate of 13.6. The companies that get greater than 50% of their sales in the U.S. did way better than the companies who have less than 50% of their earnings from the U.S., and that is because of the stronger dollar in the fourth quarter of last year. So less than 50% of sales in the U.S., 9.4% on revenue growth. All the S&P 500, 7.8% on revenue growth. Greater than 50% of the S&P 500 on revenue growth was 20.9%. So much bigger on the ones that were domestic. Much bigger numbers. That's our earnings scorecard.
Thank you, Bob. That was the earnings scorecard here on the Money Path Podcast.
Very concise.
That was not that concise.
It's pretty concise.
I don't agree.
Oh, Jesus.
So tell us now about these go-karts, Michael.
Well, Bob doesn't want to hear about the go-karts that go to 0 to 60 in 1.5 seconds.
That's amazing. Tell me more.
Well, it's only $60,000.
Wait, what?
It's $60,000.
Dear God.
It's a $60,000 fan-powered vehicle that can go from 0 to 60 in just 1.5 seconds. It's called the C5 Blast Ultimate. So
stupid name. Sounds like an energy drink.
Well, it uses these 10 kilowatt brushless electric motors fed by a 2,400 watt lithium ion battery, but then it's also flanked by electric duct fan motors that provide 132 pounds of forward thrust.
It's pretty.
But you can get the model without the fans that goes from 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. I don't know why you even bother for only $9,999. So Elon better better up his game with, now he's got a car, but I want to see him beat this go-kart.
He's absolutely going to start a go-kart company now. He's going to say, ours goes in 0.9 seconds.
Yes, I need to see. There's going to be a tie-in to somehow on
by solar panels.
I wish we had that in the old Domino's Pizza days. That go-kart. Instead of a go-kart that topped out like at 8 miles per hour or something.
Just wait till Elon says he's going to take over the golf cart market, and he's going to make his own golf cart. Think about that.
You hit it. And these golf carts could drive around under LA in the tunnels.
That's actually genius.
The Elon golf cart company, where they could have solar roofs. That actually makes sense for a golf cart. A golf cart with a solar roof. Think about it, because it's on the golf course, and you're pretty much golfing where it's sunny.
Now, if we only had politicians that were favorable to a golfing manufacturing climate.
I like that you already named it the Elon Golf Cart Company. That's a great name. Elon carts. Don't elongate your game by using a slower cart.
Oh, boy.
How about that?
Right. It'll give you wind speed, height, altitude, so you know what kind of course you're at. It'll be calculating. It'll be scanning your club swing, so you can take a look between. Wait, have I already figured this out?
You have. Yeah. Now you're giving it all. It's gonna get announced next week by Elon. Somebody's gonna send him the show, and then all of a sudden you're gonna have the golf cart company.
Well, then I'll do the children's book. He can have that.
If we still have a show, because don't we put this out in MP3 format?
Yeah, I'm going to stop this story cold. We were on AAC before. It is not widely distributed. Now MP3 is free. It has no more patents. Anyone can use it for free. So now MP3 can live forever. MP3 has great stuff in it for things like podcasts. That's why we use it now. So yeah, great day, celebration. MP3 is saved. It no longer has a patent. We won. MP3 has won the internet. Hooray!
That's why it's not dead yet.
Yeah, we'll never be dead.
Never be dead. So our podcast will live on in MP3 history. Could you explain what happened with the patent thing? And
yeah, it lapsed. So, it's whatever. It's
Germany. Didn't the company they sort of just said, okay, we're done with it?
Yeah, you saw what happened with CompuServe GIF, the GIF, right? That, they tried to take that away, and the internet's like, no, this is ours now. They had to give the patents up. Same thing happened for music. You can't, too much of the Library of Congress, too much of all of our audio media that went digital is an MP3. So it had to be let free.
The other day I Shazammed a song. I was sitting somewhere and I'm like, I like this song. I don't know what it is. I Shazammed it. And in Shazam, it came up, listen on Napster. Is there still a Napster?
Yes, there is.
It's owned by the record companies, though.
Napster is?
Yeah.
It's not the way it used to be.
No. It said listen on Napster. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to listen on Napster. Then it wanted me to download an app. I'm like, I have enough apps. But then it brought me to Rhapsody or something. I don't know.
Well, Napster was back in the Windows XP days when your computers were, who would use Windows XP on these days, right?
I Napstered everything when I first found out about it.
Shh.
I did. I used that thing like crazy.
That was before the turn of the century. Shh.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and since you have a tendency, Bob, to click on everything, I want to know something, because this was sort of dominated the news cycle. How did you not get this ransomware on your computer?
I prepaid the $300.
Because
when I heard about it, I reached out to the developers and said, here's $300, lay off, would you? I won't know how to fix it even after I give you the $300, so here's the $300.
I was so shocked that you did not get this, because if there's anything going around the internet, you get it.
Well, you have, you may not know this, but in one of the softwares that you put on here on my computer when you took over my computer from your house, you put on automatic updates. So I didn't get it in the first wave, and then Windows 10. Stafford, what do I have here?
Yes, you're on Windows 10.
Windows 10 released a patch that protected from it, and it automatically updated.
But the entire grid, the system's grid, has a lot of Windows XP machines on there. So when the news cycle happened and they were saying, oh, just update your computer, they didn't even bring up the fact that Windows XP was what was majorly affected by these really old, used, tired hacks from the NSA.
Was it an actual NSA tool?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it, Mike? It was.
Yeah,
NSA?
it was supposedly. It supposedly was developed by the NSA. Well, Microsoft actually had to release. They actually did because they haven't supported XP now for 3 years, but they actually put out a special release to patch XP machines. So, yeah, that was that dominated the news cycle early in the week.
Hey,
what didn't dominate?
Everybody, stop talking for a second. Listen.
Yes.
I love when Charlotte snores in the background.
Yeah, she's snoring because she was up all night last night.
Oh, poor baby.
She was up all night, and then she decided now she's tired after we were all up all night.
Charlotte's Mike's dog, in case this is in the show. One of Mike's dogs. She's a great dog.
Well,
all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I actually have two of them here. Walter's also snoring, but she outsnores Walter, so...
But Walter is a synthetic, right? Oh, I'm sorry. That was an Alien Ridley Scott reference to Walter, the new movie.
Elon Musk has a robot dog company. He started.
Does he?
They have solar testicles or something. They just run all day, and if you get them fixed, they don't work.
That was almost a Tesla joke in there.
It's almost a Tesla-cole joke.
Oh boy, this is gonna be.
Look, it's a cyclical joke.
Yes, it's a cyclical.
Now in the.
What do you got, Mike?
Except Apple, which you didn't really hear, they acquired an AI company called Lattice Data, which deals with unstructured dark data for $200 million. No, it's data that's unstructured. So this deals with not compiled data. It finds patterns in data that's not already pre-structured and uses it in an AI sense. So it's very interesting that Apple picked up that company.
Apple needs a hive mind.
It's just...
You can keep laughing.
It's the best snoring ever. It's just so loud. I like it in the background. Don't wake her up, dude. Leave her alone. I know you're tossing stuff in her direction now.
I went and lifted her head and repositioned it, so now she snores louder.
Perfect. It's great. It's like we have a theme song in the background for the show.
And then still in Apple not building computers, they're going to possibly redesign the iPad for WWDC. So there's Stafford. They're still not focused on their computers. And most important, in their new spaceship campus, that cost $5 billion to build, by the way, they have come up with a new patented pizza box. Now, these pizza boxes are specifically designed so that pizzas won't get soggy if employees want to eat back at their desks or save the pizza for later. They patented these boxes back in 2010. The secret is elevating the pizza from the bottom surface ensures that any steam that is emitted from the bottom of the pizza can flow away from the bottom of the pizza, Apple's patent states. Allowing such steam to flow away from the bottom of the pizza prevents moisture from becoming trapped between the pizza and the bottom surface of the container and subsequently reabsorbed in the pizza, causing it to get soggy.
Yeah, this is a distraction. Do not talk about all the problems with Apple Park. The building leaks. There are structural issues because when you have a lot of Johnny Ives creative types sort of all distracted on doing architecture for their new campus and building, and keep their eye off the ball of their computers, you're going to create a lot of structural issues and problems that they're actually dealing with right now. You know, a computer company making a building isn't necessarily the smartest thing to do. And they're getting down to the doorknobs. They're getting down to how the doorknobs fit. And they're choosing to not get standard doors. Every door is unique. I mean, it's a level of insanity over there that I think what's going on with that building?
Well, it's their new spaceship campus.
Pizza boxes. They won't talk about how this building leaks and it's terrible.
They're talking about their pizza boxes. Oh, and in a tie-in to the last couple shows, Tim Cook is test driving a device that tracks his blood sugar, which is then tied into the watch, the Apple Watch. So it's an external device that's, we've talked about that, trying to track blood sugar. What would it be, topologically?
How's that for a distraction?
Topographically?
Have the CEO test your glucose watch meter. No one will talk about the leaky roof.
Okay.
Seems weird that they just trotted out the CEO to talk about it, right?
The pizza box. No, it's funny because are they going to so it leads us kind of into Amazon, although we want to talk a little bit about this glucose meter thing, but the depth of businesses that Amazon's getting into, Apple with the pizza box is kind of funny. I mean, it would be kind of, we've talked in a couple of shows about how Apple is going to get wearables right. That's been my opinion. I don't know if I don't remember. I don't think you guys disagreed with me, but I think they're going to get wearables right from the health and wellness perspective. And Apple getting into food packaging, why not? When you look at some of the things that Amazon is doing, I mean, I understand Amazon's not a computer company, but do we look at Apple as a hardware or software company at this point? Or do we not differentiate?
Apple is going to go where Frank Lloyd Wright's going. They're going to design buildings.
I mean, what percentage of Apple's revenue is somewhere 90% comes from the iPhone, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
It's probably just below that now.
iTunes is bigger than the Macintosh.
What is iTunes?
iTunes is their music, and music is bigger than their computers. So,
wow.
Well, now, so you wanted to touch on Amazon? They're hiring people to break into the multi-billion-dollar pharmacy market.
Yeah, they hired a guy, and it's funny because the other day I walked into a Walmart, and as I walk in, on my left-hand side, there's a Subway, and just past that is a nail salon, and just to the right of that is a what do you call them? A place where you get glasses. A glasses place.
Yeah, a place where you get glasses. Are you going to that place you get glasses, Bob?
The ophthalmological place.
Optometrist.
An optometrological room. Just to the right is an optometrist, and then just past that is a pharmacy. I get back from the Walmart, I start working again, and I see Amazon is considering getting into pharmaceuticals. And when I first saw this story, I'm like, how are they going to do that? And then I thought, how does Walmart do it? They're going to follow Walmart's path in terms of putting stores that are extensions of their own store in their store. It's genius. They already do tires, they already do automotive. Again, there's just no stopping this company in my mind, and there should be no long-term hold portfolio that doesn't include Amazon.
Well, Amazon is now worth 2 Walmarts in terms of market cap.
Yeah. Walmart's their only competition right now, and Walmart's actually doing really well lately. I think if I had to buy one of the 2 stocks, I'd want to own Walmart.
Have you seen Walmart has Walmart?
Yeah, Walmart has more to gain on Amazon than vice versa, I think.
Yeah.
Because Amazon is not going to catch up to Walmart in terms of physical stores. Well, Walmart could actually make some gains on Amazon in terms of online sales. The guy from Jet's doing phenomenal, I guess.
Yeah, he is.
The guy from Jet.com.
We talked about that like a year ago on the podcast going, what? They buy Jet? Well, we now know.
And then a couple shows later, I remember we were talking about that all the talk was they wanted the CEO from Jet even more than Jet. And in order to do that, they bought Jet, and it's paying dividends. Yeah, talk about the stock, Mike. The run up is
Yeah. Well, now it's I think it's getting a little it's getting a little ahead of itself. It's right now trading 78.76. I'm going to be watching for a pullback to about the 77 to 70, mid 76 area, which we have a rising rotation zone, and a pullback to a prior breakout level to possibly accumulate it. But it's been on a tear. Boy, in February it was down at 65.28, and this stock doesn't normally move this fast.
No.
So,
and that's the interesting part about this stock, and one of the reasons I think we're going to watch it for a while now. You're going to hear about Walmart stock for probably the next 10 or 15 shows, because Amazon can trade like a momentum stock. Oftentimes, just huge moves. And if Walmart is making gains on Amazon in terms of market share, that stock can start to trade like Amazon does. And if you look, Mike, on a weekly, there's an old horizontal channel that ran from, I don't know, I'm just kind of guesstimating, from about March of 2013. And then it finally broke out in November of 2014. Then we fell back below it. And now with today's move, well, maybe today's or maybe the last few weeks, we're back in it.
Yep.
And this could actually be the start of a run back up to 90 for this stock. We don't have a signal here. Mike would have told you, but
no, that's why I was looking for some kind of pullback.
You can both admit that Walmart is laying the foundation to build something that's a long haul play, right? That's
absolutely.
Absolutely. That's how
You're absolutely right, Stafford. You're absolutely right. And I think one of the things Amazon is like, they hired a guy and they said, get us into pharma, because Walmart's already in pharma. So where can Walmart establish a market online where Amazon would have to catch up to them? One of them's pharma. Another one is ophthalmological stuff, glasses. Not a huge market, but still another place where they can take the businesses that they're in that Amazon is not and really build on those. That's what I think they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think Amazon is starting to feel a little heat from Walmart, and I've actually bought some more stuff online from Walmart because they actually beat Amazon's prices, and I got like free shipping. So,
the few things that I buy online, Walmart's consistently cheaper. And oftentimes, I bought something on Amazon once, and it came in a Walmart box. Somebody had bought it on Walmart, put it up on Amazon as a seller, and then they sent it to me. It came in a Walmart box. The way I see it, I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but the way I see it, that when I bought it from them, because I wasn't buying in Prime, I didn't have overnight shipping, it wasn't something I needed right away. So I bought it, and they probably got my money, went to Walmart, and then shipped it to me and took the difference. So the next time I bought the same product, because it was a regular product, a product I would like delivered by drone someday through a window, reference to an old show, the next time I went directly to Walmart, sure enough, it was not only cheaper than Amazon, it was cheaper than what I paid on Amazon last time to the person who sent it to me from Walmart.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So you got 30 seconds to give us a crude update.
Oh, crude in 30 seconds is hard. Crude got above the 50-day. Michael, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
No, it is.
And I think that was significant when you look at the chart and you look at the way that it got above the rotation zone on the 50-day was significant. What's happening now is the extension of time on the OPEC cuts and the addition of Russia prior to the announcement coming from OPEC and Russia, and the length of time of the announcement of the extension of the production cuts is what matters here. So people were saying, are they going to extend it for another 3 months or another 6 months? They extended it for another 9. And they didn't say we're thinking about doing this, but we need to see if Russia's on board. They announced it with Russia. So these are bits of detail, minutia that actually matter. That's now 1.8 million barrels if they comply. 1.8 million barrels. Remember, everybody, that's a day. Okay, that's not just 1.8 million barrels. It's 1.8 million barrels taken out of supply every single day. According to the EIA, the United States is going to add 122,000 barrels a day of production next month. Okay, that's not enough to make up for this. So I think the range is back. I don't think we're going to break out to new highs. I think if we do, you've probably got a cap around 65, but I think that 50 is kind of the sweet spot. And I think that OPEC is pretty happy if we stay with a 5 handle on crude oil for the foreseeable future. The place you see the price anticipation is in the crude oil curve. The front month is dominated by speculation. The crude oil curve still has contango in it, meaning that the further out months are priced higher than the closer in months until you get to January of 2018 where the price starts to fall again. So that's about it. I mean, I could say a lot more, but that's about it.
Well, that's a nice tie-in to Toyota wants flying cars in time for the 2020 Olympics.
I can't wait for flying cars.
Toyota has joined the flying car craze by backing a group working on a drone-like vehicle that would soar 33 feet above the ground at speeds up to 62 miles per hour. The SkyDrive is being... Now, this is a horrible name for a company. Cartivator. Cartivator is a startup with around 30 young volunteers working with drone expert who... all right, Masafumi Miwa, I probably butchered that.
Masafumi Miwa.
Yes, you say names much better than I do, but they want to have it commercialized in time to light the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games torch.
Sure, it will lose control and parabolically fall right into the podium and ignite the thing on fire. I love it.
Okay, we never want anyone to get hurt, but how spectacular of a visual would that be? I just said spectacular. What is wrong with us today?
Because you're on optics.
How spectacular. I need an optical till Tremendix
It's easy.
appointment.
If it's flying, it's not a car. Simple as that.
But how great of a visual would that be?
Hold on, the Jetsons had flying cars.
Oh, Jetsons.
I was thinking Blade Runner sort of thing, dystopian future.
Or Fifth Element. Tie in with the pants.
Or Marty McFly in Back to the Future 2 with his skateboard.
The only part of Star Wars I love as much as Stafford loves all of Star Wars is the car that Luke was in. What the hell's that thing called?
Land Speeder. No, I have a hard line. I stop at Disney Star Wars. The day Disney bought Lucasfilm, I stop. I have a hard stop there.
Yeah, the Land Cruiser is such a cool vehicle.
Land Speeder, yeah, very cool.
Land Speeder, sorry.
It's okay, man. It's okay. But the fact that you know it, it's good enough.
And now this is another stock that we've talked about before, Qualcomm. They're doing stuff with the charging electric vehicles while they're driving. We talked about that self-repairing road, right? With the bacteria in it a little while ago in our episode that could also possibly charge electrical vehicles when they were stopped. Well, Qualcomm can charge electrical vehicles while they're moving. They've built a track, I think it's in France, that they showed off their technology called dynamic electric vehicle charging that juices an electrical vehicle via road-embedded wireless charging hardware while you're driving.
It's using an electromagnetic field, right? An EM field?
Yes.
Shouldn't, in theory, the car be the easiest thing to charge itself?
Yes.
When you've kind of got built-in generator turbines in the wheels.
Yes.
I mean, in theory, it should be the simplest thing to have charge itself.
Yep.
Hey,
The darn wheels are spinning. Get some power
Kids
there.
won't be able to play out, in the street playing stickball if we have these electrical roads with an electromagnetic field.
That's not how it works.
What's going to happen to my big wheel and my green machine days?
It just made me wonder if there's a stickball app. I'm going to look it up.
See, you guys go. This is supposed to be a market-related show, and you're talking about stickball. When I was talking about Qualcomm in the chart, because we brought this up a little while ago, that we have a massive weekly potential double bottom on it, and it's getting closer and closer to possibly triggering.
Well, Qualcomm does need to diversify.
There's an app called Stick and Ball, but it's not what you think it is. Moving on.
So Qualcomm, 57.34 trading right now. We're watching to see if we get a close above 59.04, which would trigger this potential weekly double bottom with then a full target of 65.71.
How come that one's not in the book? We'll put it in the book when it triggered.
Yeah, but I keep an eye on this because it is a very interesting pattern that I'm watching, and it might be a nice. There's also a nice gap that it left behind that would, if we fill the gap, would hit our stop reduction target, which would be 62.37. So this would return it to its prior area that it stayed in for a bunch of time last year, up around the $66 to $69 mark. So keep an eye on that.
Which, by the way, it's a good day to talk about. It's a good time to talk about. Let's see, let me just check. Let me just hold on. What are you pressuring me for? Hold on.
Because we have a time pressure.
Stop it. You had a Netflix trade that everyone should know is invalid. All right, go ahead.
What's
There's a Netflix trade of close below 138.26. But it was invalid if it got above 140.29.
That's off the...
So that's off the table.
Mm-hmm. But since you already did earnings scorecard,
yeah,
prior to the earnings section, which caused me great stress, we did have some earnings come out this week that we're going to talk about. Target beat their Q1 earnings per share 121, expected 91 cents. But their comparable sales fell 1.3%. They're still, this is if I had to choose between Target and Walmart. Look at those two charts. One's going the wrong way, one's going the right way. Although Target, if we might have a potential trend line trade if we get the declining rotation zone out of the way on a weekly close above 58.65 area. It would have to take a couple weeks to trigger, but then we could see a run up to about the 63.50 area, then a full target of 66.35. So, and sales overall for Target fell 1.1% to 16.02 billion, but it was still above analyst expectations of 15.62 billion.
Target needs to change fast.
Huh?
Target needs to change fast.
Yeah.
They need to do something. I don't know why they fired their whole creative team that they had. They had a team I want to say maybe 6 months ago, that was actually in charge of making Target experience stores and digitizing and putting an online presence. They fired that whole team. Target, I don't know what's going to become of Target. Yeah, I heard a retail analyst on the other day. He's an older guy, you could tell just by his voice. I was listening to it on the radio, and I wish I could remember his name, but he was basically saying that you're going to need bricks and mortar, because bricks and mortar is where you go in and touch and feel in order to buy things online later. I tell you, the size of those Target stores, that can't be just what they're doing. It can't only be that. They got to change quick.
Like Target's the old Walmart, and Walmart is the new Target.
Yeah, absolutely.
In reputation.
Target should pick a store in like an urban area and just revamp it, make it a cool destination place. See if they can get something going. They've got too much land.
Walmart's something I'd want to own, just like we talked about owning Amazon. Target's something I will trade, but I'm not in the committed ownership yet.
Yeah, agreed.
Now, if they do get a new solid footing, I'll consider it an ownership at certain levels, but it's still just a trade stock to me instead of an own until they can really prove that they're turning around. We should mention Walmart earnings, though. That's one of the reasons the stock took off, which we were referencing earlier. Their first quarter earnings per share was $1 versus expectations of 96 cents. Comparable comp sales, excluding fuel, was up 1.4% versus expectations of 1.3%, and their revenue came in at $117.5 billion versus $117.6 billion. So that was just a very slight miss, but didn't really affect the numbers because of everything else, or didn't affect the stock price because of everything else they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect with that type of an earnings release that the stock would be rallying as high as it is, but BMO upgraded it to market perform from underperform. So that's one of the things that happened in Benzinga. has a list of top upgrades, and Walmart was on there, named by a couple of different analysts. RBC also raised their price target to 74. Susquehanna raised their price target to 92 from 80. So it's interesting. RBC raised it from 67 to 74 today. It's trading at 78.
Well,
what good are you if you're raising it? RBC always does that. I hate their upgrades and downgrades because their targets are always where it's trading currently. They're never wrong. They're never wrong.
Well, people don't look back in time and you say, look, it's hit our target. Well, you raised it posthumously.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, well, you know what? It did reach our target. Yesterday's close in Walmart was 75.71, and they raised their price target to 74 from 67 yesterday after the close. It was announced this morning. But Susquehanna raised their price target from 80 to 92. Now, there's somebody you want to watch their performance. Susquehanna. They put it from 80 to 92. And that, again, was as of the close yesterday. So when it traded at 74 yesterday, they raised it from 80 to 92. That's somebody trying to help you.
Well, a stock that didn't go the right direction with their earnings release this week was Cisco, which I was watching for on my charts. It had a really nice potential double top, but when they released their earnings, it essentially went all the way to target after hours. It dropped from, a couple weeks ago, it was trading up at 34.60. Right now, it's down to 31.18. It went to a low of 30.37. So that's a pretty big drop for Cisco. They earned 50 cents in GAAP EPS. But then they really pushed up their non-GAAP number to 60 cents, which beat expectations of 2 cents. So they had to beat expectations by going non-GAAP. Revenue did beat $11.94 billion, just slightly beat by about $50 million. However, their guidance was really, really bad. They guided below the low end of consensus estimates for Q4 earnings per share. So they got taken to the woodshed pretty quickly.
Yeah, Cisco is they're facing a lot of competition. They're well behind in the chip development on AI. So.
Any other comments on that? So I don't have a trade in there because it was nothing. It was actionable. But we talked about also, boy, this is a big throwback show because we talked about these quadruple levered ETFs. I guess the SEC got a lot of feedback on this. Maybe from you, Bob. Maybe you were on the horn to them, or they heard the podcast and heard us railing about them because they've hit the pause button.
For those of you that are listening, the SEC apparently listens to the Money Pat podcast,
or not.
They're a listener.
But
check into Stafford's yo-yo purchases. I think they're illegal. Go ahead.
Take eBay down, no problem. Get out of eBay because my yo-yo purchases are going to.
Yeah, so they finally they're still reviewing again. They sort of put the brakes on and said they're going to see if they should reverse or uphold the earlier decision to move forward with this very risky, not only from the 4 times leverage, but the whole structure of the product.
There is a God.
And now, could somebody answer a question for me?
Give it a shot.
Well, you know how Twitter was, which I never watched a live stream of football games last year on it. Never, not because I don't enjoy football, just because I never figured out how to, or never had the desire to watch football on Twitter. But now Facebook is showing Major League Baseball games on Fridays. They've struck a deal to show 20 of the league's game live this season. I don't see myself going to Facebook to watch baseball.
All right, so we're obviously not the target, right?
I need someone to explain this to me.
I can explain the Twitter part. I tried to watch a game streaming on Twitter. I was not able to use my Chromecast or my Amazon Fire Stick to cast the game. So I was actually watching it on an iPad and people were tweeting about the game. And there was something cool about it, but it just didn't replace sitting around with your buddies talking about the game. And what has replaced that for me is a group text. I have a Chicago Cubs group text, and I have an NFL group text, and there are different people in them. The Cubs group text is just Cubs fans, and we just keep talking about how everything's great even when it's terrible. But the NFL guys are actually guys that know sports. And we'll talk about the game while it's going on, but it's via text now. I don't particularly, I didn't enjoy tweeting with strangers about what was going on in the game because I ended up in Twitter fights, not want to do that. So I ended up with fights where people would just say things that were completely idiotic, and now I'm arguing with an idiot and I'm trying to watch the game. So the Facebook, I think, is less likely to work for somebody like me than the Twitter was because I don't really, well, first of all, I'm not personally on Facebook. Path Trading Partners is, but I'm not personally on Facebook. So I look at this and I think, there would never be a time where I would watch a baseball game on Facebook. I don't know who would.
So, Mike, answer your own question. I mean, do you, will you watch sports on the internet?
I've streamed sport like through the MLB app and stuff. I've done that, but I don't envision myself going to Facebook to. My big challenge with this is, okay, you're playing 20 games. They're going to be on my TV anyways. Why am I going to go to Facebook to watch this?
I think it would be more successful with football than baseball, and here's why. Baseball is much more local than football is. Baseball is much more about your team, and while everybody has a team in football, most people do, I can watch the Patriots versus the Bengals a lot better or a lot easier than I would watch the Red Sox versus the Reds. Baseball's a lot more local. It's a lot more about your team because there's so many games and so many opportunities for you to watch your own team that you're not jonesing for baseball like you are jonesing for football when you're on Sunday when your local team is over.
How'd you come up with both Boston versus Cincinnati teams? What is the tie in there?
Nothing really. I like the Bengals helmets and I like Tom Brady. That was all. And then I decided as I was talking to make it city specific. That's all. That's really it.
I had to make that.
And I have I appreciate what you're asking, and I have no personal tie to either city, so it made it even better. If I'd have said New York, I have a lot of friends in New York, I might watch Yankees against the Dodgers or the Giants because I have friends in all those cities. But in Boston and in Cincinnati, I have no friends. Yeah, either one.
I was just wondering, see, that was sort of a dive into the dark data aspect of.
Look at that.
The dark data dive.
That out. Lattice could have figured that out.
It could have. I needed you because this is a tie-in in the going to zero and fraud corner.
Yeah.
Deutsche Bank's woes deepen in Monte Paschi fraud case.
Monte Paschi.
To say it right for me, because I am not.
Monte Paschi.
So they're in trial in Milan for allegedly helping Banca Monte. Say it.
Banca Monte di Paschi.
Conceal losses. Mm-hmm. And this is turning into like the prosecution's like, you're essentially a crime organization over there. We've talked about this. There's not one cockroach.
Yeah.
There's like a whole infestation at Deutsche Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deutsche Bank. I'm steering clear of them whatsoever. Oh boy. So
yeah.
At this point, Deutsche Bank is comedy relief on this show.
Yes, it is. That's the only reason I follow them.
Such a respected institution for all the years I was down on the trade stuff, and now it's just like, come on, guys.
If you want to comment on it, because Bullard's been talking all morning.
Mm-hmm.
He was mentioning again that the Fed's rate path may be overly aggressive. The Fed should, again, shrink the balance sheet to gain policy space. The Fed should retain option to do QE in future if needed, and he probably won't oppose another rate hike. But also the minimal impact to the bond market from shrinking the balance sheet. So that's what he's been going on about this morning. He loves to continue to throw out this. We might need future QE. Well,
yeah, he's dovish, and the dovish guy is funny to me because the dovish guy, it's like you see something come out, you're like, oh my God, dovish come. It's Bullard. Never mind. You just kind of ignore it because it's Bullard.
And Kashikari came out this week. Only hike Fed rates as last resort to tackle bubbles.
Really?
Yes.
So just leave heat.
Yeah.
Sometimes, honestly, that guy, Kashkari, it's funny that he became a Fed president after he ran the TARP, right? After he was called out of Goldman Sachs to help basically bail out banks and distribute TARP and things like that. That's what he was in charge of. And then he became a Fed president. He seems to want to be in the news. He has political aspirations or maybe even Fed chairship. That guy's definitely he's driving towards something because he's the guy always putting out stuff like that. He's the guy who said he dissented in the last rate hike because he'd rather be talking about the balance sheet. He was the first guy to say that. And then the balance sheet became what everybody wanted to talk about. This guy loves to make headlines. Mark my words, he's going to be the guy always saying the sort of off-script things.
Do we call that grandstanding?
We call it grandstanding. We call him a blowhard. He's a grandstanding.
Is he bloviating?
He's bloviating. He's a grandstanding blowhard.
Well, and the Atlanta Fed?
Yeah.
Their now model, their GDP now model, up to 4.1% from 3.6. So
what is it?
They're coming out for Q2 GDP 4.1%.
Wow. I just heard that, who was it? This is going to carry less weight because I can't remember who it was, but somebody high up said that the data is predicting around a 2% right now. The data that we've gotten so far is predicting around 2 to 2.5%.
Yeah, I think their models overstating it to the upside. Just real quick, industrial production was really the only major number. There was some housing starts and everything else, but the industrial production came out at 1% this week versus expectations of 0.4%, so that was a nice beat. Oh, here, U.S. Treasury Mnuchin says we do not support a separation of banks from investment banks. So leave them together.
That's two. So I watched the exchange between Mnuchin and Warren yesterday. Yeah. She is something, man. Anyway, I mean, I don't, I need to rail on Congress for a minute because these televised hearings are the worst thing that's ever happened to the world. The worst, because all they do is give speeches. And you get no intel at all. You get nothing because they just say, like, they'll say things like, in the crisis of 2003, this happened, and I proposed this bill that caused this many jobs. Can I get you on record saying that you agree that jobs is good? Yes, we would agree with that. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. But she kept saying, are you in favor of separating breaking up the big banks? He'd say no. Are you in favor of separating commercial banking from investment banking? He said, well, that's a complicated question. No, it's not. Are you in favor of it or not? No, it's a complicated question. Ugh.
And then for her remaining 4 minutes, she loses her conversion.
She loses. You know what I think of that kind of questioning and is Elizabeth Warren in this instance specifically? I think that
boom.
And he's gone.
Self-censorship. Ladies and gentlemen, this show thrives on self-censorship and hard, strict editing. And we just saw an example of that by our co-founder and co-leader, Sir Bob Iacchino.
I actually think that was ComEd cutting off his power.
Whatever. That's how it's supposed to work. I'm like, wow, this has gotten to a place that's in the show, but not in the show. I don't know if it's in the show anymore.
Well, it's in the show because...
Are we in the show right now? I don't
even know.
We're
in the show.
I don't know.
The show must go on.
Well, I can make a show from nothing.
We know that because you do every week.
I could probably make a show out of all the leftover shows I have. Can you imagine if I did that?
You could probably make a show out of every time I said and ugh.
No, we're all good.
There we go. Well, we need to put a few more things in the show. Because we didn't do Elon's Playhouse yet. which there was some actually wanted Bob's comment before his power got cut on this. Well, first of all, interesting that SpaceX settled the underpaid employees for $4 million. Elon's a little notorious for underpaying his employees, but they had a class action lawsuit that they settled for $4 million. Although I think the attorneys ended up best in this lawsuit because the attorneys got $1.3 million, and the average employee got $500 for being underpaid. So,
well, you got to keep on your upper management. Always stay on your upper
so
management.
Now, this was fascinating coming out yesterday. Elon admits, quote, Tesla's market cap is higher than we have any right to deserve. So he's in an interview with The Guardian, and these are quotes. Well, he also said that Tesla should not be compared to major U.S. car makers, and that its market capitalization, now more than $50 billion, is unwarranted. Quote, I do believe this market cap is higher than we have any right to deserve, he said, pointing out his company produces just 1% of GM's total output. Quote, we're a money-losing company. This is not some situation where, for example, we are just greedy capitalists who decide to skimp on safety in order to have more profits and dividends and that kind of thing. It's just a question of how much money we lose and how do we survive. How do we not die and have everyone lose their jobs?
Yeah, if anyone talks to me that way, I'm very concerned that just the fact those words came out of their mouth. Because that's like, the fact that maybe you're looking at yourself. Maybe you're projecting your own company attitudes right now. I don't know. It's concerning
I was
to me.
shocked that he'd come out and say these things because, just a few weeks ago, he was on Twitter taunting the shorts when we broke above 300. Now he's like,
no. Oh,
yeah,
really?
he was taunting like, oh, look, your guys are getting your face ripped off because you're trying to short my stock. Now I don't understand this because he's actually saying we don't warrant where this thing's trading, which he's always talked it up. Is he downplaying stuff again are they going to miss their production schedule for this new Model 3, or are they going to miss their sales targets? He's already putting this out there like he's sort of
I don't know. It's like the punky upstart musician now has to play the big arenas. So he's just saying it like it is.
I don't know, but that's not normally like he's very pie in the sky. Let me go start another company that's going to revolutionize the world and take us to Mars and do everything with. But now he's like, I'm trying to figure out something with this, and I don't know where he was going exactly.
I think he's already the relationship with Tesla Motors is already over in his heart. Because he's on to so many bigger other things, right? Didn't he just put something in space with SpaceX,
well, they launched
right?
the heaviest ever payload. They couldn't actually re-land the rocket because the payload was so heavy and it had to go up so high that. Oh, that was last week. So it was a pretty spectacular launch, and it got it there. But then they're coming out with their new rockets, their heavy rockets that will be able to launch payloads like this and still be able to return for recycling and reuse. So that's...
See, if my heart was somewhere, I'd be in space flight. Who cares about my car company? So I'm going to tell the investors now the real deal. There's a, now you can pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
Actually, I figured out why he's really doing his boring company.
Why? Is he too interesting?
No, I think it ties into his long-term space plans with Mars. I think he's working on because a lot of stuff you'll do underground in Mars, you'll have to
Wait, the moon is
Mars,
and he's gonna bore it like it's Swiss cheese. Brilliant.
No, but it's the whole Mars. You're gonna have to build a ton of stuff underground and everything else. So why not already have the company that's perfected all the boring equipment on Earth and then launch it to Mars with his rockets?
I guess so. Sounds good to me. I mean,
I have a tie into this though. Launching to Mars, essentially, Bitcoin it traded above 1,900 today. Yeah, but what's interesting to this is For the first time, Bitcoin accounts for less than half the market cap of all cryptocurrencies.
That's good. It's losing.
Yeah,
ground,
as it
right?
appreciates in price, people are just it's becoming a speculation thing. I'm telling everybody, be very careful. If you are in Bitcoin, I would take some money off the table, book some profits, and see. Things are starting to rotate into Ethereum is picking up a lot of steam. What other ones? There is Ripple. Ripple is a Japanese one. It's very popular in Japan, and it's getting highly traded in Japan. So Ripple's seeing a big spike. There's a new one that's coming on the online called Tezos. So it's going to be very interesting. And I still think that Bitcoin. Here's my prediction. There's going to be some big hacking scandal again that's going to take down either something with Bitcoin or something with some of these major exchanges, and a bunch of people are going to get wiped out.
Right. The crypto market is widening in diversity, and Bitcoin has to give up ground to these newer currencies that are coming up. And you can't be in love with Bitcoin, period. You have to look at Ethereum, all these other cryptos that are happening.
So that's our little Bitcoin update.
Today's edition of The What and the Why is brought to you by Motive Wave Software. Motive Wave Software is a well-established developer of easy-to-use, full-featured charting, analysis, and trading software built for the individual trader. Motive Wave offers the best charting tools used by the pros, such as Elliott Wave, Fibonacci, Gartley, Gannon ratio analysis, but it's presented in a very easy-to-use way. Motive Wave has a product to fit any budget and any trading style, and one of the very best features, it's available on Windows and Mac. So go to pathtradingpartners.com right now to get your 14-day free trial, and then visit them at motivewave.com.
So my wife for the week considers something that we kind of try to stay away from on the show, and that's politics, and we really can't in this particular case. And I want to put it in perspective. So instead of getting political, which, again, we try never to do on the show, we have to talk about what happened this week and the way that the markets moved and how to sort that stuff out. This week, as you all know at this point, there was talk of a Comey, CIA director, or FBI director Comey memo where he was concerned about some of the things Donald Trump said, and it got morphed into potential obstruction of justice, and there were already Democrats calling for impeachment, and a lot of it was, quite frankly, overdone. But if I speak to that, then I'm getting political. Go into how it affected the markets. What the financial media does, and I'm a tacit member of the financial media, obviously, because I'm on TV. But what they do that is so wrong is when they talk about market plunges and market panics and triple-digit losses is one of their favorite things. The Dow's down today, triple-digit losses in the market. The S&P was down 1.8%. The NASDAQ was down 1.8%. The Dow was down, I think, 1.4%. Okay? In the last 10 years, the S&P fall was the 66th worst fall in the last 10 years. It was nothing. It was nothing at all. By contrast, when you look at headlines about what's going on in Brazil, okay, where there's, again, political turmoil, it's called for the president to resign. The Bovespa, which is the Brazilian stock market, fell 8.5%. That's a plunge. All right. So what I want everyone to do, or at least consider, when it's a political thing, and part of the reason I wanted to do the earnings scorecard today was to let everyone know how much better earnings have been than the 5-year average. Doesn't mean it's going to continue. But all we need to take out of the market, if there's trouble in the White House, is whatever part of the market is the anticipation of Trump policies, and that's only until we have President Pence, who, by the way, I'm now calling President Pants, because every time I voice text President Pence, it comes out President Pants. So if you ever hear me refer to President Pants, that's what that is. If Trump were to be forced out of office or resign, you would have Mike Pence in office, who believes in the same sort of economic solutions. So when something comes from the White House and you see triple-digit losses in the Dow, look behind it. It's not like terrorism. It's not like a bad number in a stock. It's not like a horrible jobs number. It's scandal in politics. And other than the delay in some of these policies that the market really liked, there's nothing else to it. Even if they're able to get Donald Trump out of office, which is what they want, even if they're able to achieve that, stocks should not suffer in any way until it's over. And that's it. That's my line. Yeah, so thanks for listening. I'm Bob Icino, and we will talk to you guys next week. Keep coming back because these shows are getting better and shorter.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.